Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Brianna. Subscribe down below so you don't miss my weekly uploads. So as you guys know, coronavirus is spreading and the CDC and other health officials are recommending social distancing, trying to stay at home as much as possible and staying away from people. So I thought it would be fun to sit down and make a video of all of my book recommendations of what I'm reading now and what I've read recently so that you guys will not be bored at home and have something to do other than binging Netflix. Side note, it is raining outside, so if you guys hear any background noise, I apologize for that, but it has been raining all week here in Texas. So here are some books that I've been reading and ones that I finished recently. Just to jump straight into it, Harry Potter. So this one is the third book, The Prisoner of Azkaban, and while I'm a substitute teacher, I do like to read books, so I actually haven't read this one in a couple of weeks, but I'm rereading the entire Harry Potter series, which is amazing. I read these books as a kid, and of course I've seen every movie like 10 times, but going back and reading these has been so amazing. The amount of detail and planning that J.K. Rowling put into this series is crazy. I actually only have books 1 through 6, so I have to buy book 7. Right now I'm on book 3. So if you've never read Harry Potter or if you have read it before, this is a great series to reread. The books for some reason are always better than the movies, and the Harry Potter movies are really good, but you just don't get the same amount of detail as you do in the books. So Harry Potter, pick that up. Also, all these books that I'm going to be talking about, I did just quickly check on Amazon and they are all in stock. Also probably at the bookstore. Books are still in stock, not like toilet paper and hand sanitizer. Okay, next up is another series. This is the Crazy Rich Asian series, and there's 3 books in this series. I read these books last year, and I think I finished up at the beginning of this year. So if you guys have seen the movie, there's actually 3. So the movie is just the first book. So Crazy Rich Asians is book 1, and then there is China Rich Girlfriend and Rich People Problems. These books are by Kevin Kwan. They are so funny. I loved the movie, and so I actually watched the movie first, and then I discovered that there is a trilogy. So these books are so hilarious, and they actually kind of gave me insight into Chinese and Asian culture. They're super funny. They're not too long. Let's see. Actually, they're more like 530 pages. So it's a little bit of a longer read, but I mean, Harry Potter books are super long as well. These books are so funny, and I love the art that's on all of them. So this is the third one, Rich People Problems. They're also just hilarious. So this series is amazing, and I just checked on Amazon. You can get this trilogy for I think about $24. Okay, so let me just show you guys all the fiction books first, and then I'll move into nonfiction. So this next one I read last year. This is by Angie Thomas, The Hate U Give. Also a movie. I read the book first and then saw the movie. Again, I thought the book was better. So if you don't know what this book is or you haven't seen the movie, this is a fictional story about a teenage girl who witnesses one of her close friends, a black man, getting shot and killed by a police officer, and then basically the entire community is just in an uproar. There's a riot. There's a lot that goes into this. It is fiction, but if you look at what's been happening in recent years, this could definitely be something that could actually happen, and that does happen pretty often. So this book was actually super emotional, and it really just kind of digs deep into the perspective of being a young black teenager. Also, it has kind of a police perspective, and there's just a whole bunch going on. So this book is amazing. Angie Thomas actually has another book. I think it's called Rise Up, something along those lines. I have to read, but this book is a really great book, and this one is about 444 pages long, so it's not too bad. Okay, so the next 4 of my book recommendations are all nonfiction. They are biography, autobiography, memoir type books. I love reading fiction books like the first couple of series and the last book I just showed you, but recently I really love reading these memoir type books, just kind of digging deeper into the lives of these people. And so these 4 are nonfiction. So this first one is by Diane Guerrero. If I said that right, really bad. If If you have watched Jane the Virgin, she's Jane's best friend. She's also in some other shows and movies. And so after I started watching Jane the Virgin, I discovered that she had written a book, and this book is In the Country We Love, My Family Divided. So this book is about her life, and it basically just explains how she grew up, and her family were undocumented immigrants, and basically it talks about the struggles that she went through. Her parents and I believe her brother, it's been about 2 years since I read this book, were deported. She talks about the struggles growing up with everything going on. And also kind of how she got into being an actress, and now she's more of an activist as well, fighting for equal rights for people who were not born in this country, for immigrants. So this book was very, very good. I think it also had pictures in it. Yeah, so she includes pictures throughout her life. She talks about basically struggling to make ends meet. She was a bottle girl, a bartender, and just everything about her life. Oh yeah, Orange is the New Black. So she's also in Orange is the New Black and Jane the Virgin. So that's kind of how I discovered who she was and got interested in reading her book. So yeah, it talks about how she was born in the US, but her family was not. They're from Colombia, and she just went through a lot with that as far as immigration, deportation, and all that stuff goes. She also kind of gets into the political issues of the current immigration situation in the US and what she thinks should be done to help get those people their citizenship, help them fit into this country because they're escaping rough things in their home country. So this book is amazing, a memoir by Diane. Okay, next up, I just finished this book about a month or so ago. This is Free Santoya by Santoya Brown Long. Recently, or at least in the last couple of years, if you've been on Twitter or social media, this is how I discovered who she was. Celebrities like Rihanna and others started posting about her, and she was the young girl who got not involved is the worst word, who was forced into sex trafficking, and she ended up murdering an older man in his 40s when she was 16 years old, who was paying to have sex with her, and then she ended up getting charged and arrested. This book was not at all what I expected it to be, but it was seriously amazing. I think I finished this book in 3 days because I just could not stop reading it, and it's a memoir about her life and how she grew up, how she started going in and out of detention centers and eventually ended up in prison. I believe she served, I'm gonna say 16 years, and she just got out of prison last year. So the fall or winter of 2019. And this book is also kind of a testimony about how she came to know God and how she says that God was able to help get her out of prison. She was not pardoned, she was granted clemency. So she is still a convicted felon, but she was supposed to be in there for life, and she was released recently. So this book was super, kind of just like an insight into the decisions that we make and how they can just kind of snowball and lead us down a really bad path. So this book was amazing, and I think it's about that same page. This book was 200. Actually, this book is shorter. This book was about 300 pages long, so it's not too bad as far as length goes. It also includes pictures of her, different mugshots and pictures of her growing up and stuff like that. So I really did enjoy this one. Okay, so next up is Becoming by Michelle Obama. I had to read this book because Michelle Obama wrote a book. So this book is just basically all about her life. She talks about growing up, her family, her career, college, how she met Barack Obama. The most interesting part was her talking about what it was like being a first lady, what really went on behind the walls of the White House, raising kids in the White House, her dog. This book was overall just super inspirational and motivational and very empowering. She talks about making it through struggles, becoming who you're supposed to be, finding your purpose, and all of that. It also includes lots of pictures of her growing up, her with Barack, Sasha, Malia, and it was just a super inspirational book. So Michelle Robinson turned into Michelle Obama. She talks about struggles of marriage, balancing work and career. and just a whole bunch of stuff. I love these memoirs that include pictures because it kind of really just pulls it all together and allows the story to really be told well. So I love pictures in these types of books. Guys, look at her and Barack Obama in this picture. So cute. They were so young. Says, I think that was when they first started dating. So this book is awesome. If you love Michelle Obama, you definitely need to read this book. She also came up with like a journal that I saw at Barnes and Noble that I really need to get. It has like daily prompts and just things for you to think about and write about. So this one is a great book. Okay, so my last book is More Than Enough, Claiming Space for Who You Are, No Matter What They Say, by Elaine Welteroth. And if you don't know who Elaine is, she was the former editor of Teen Vogue. She is all over Instagram, fashion, all that type of stuff. And so I discovered her, I think, from Teen Vogue. She was, I believe, the first Black editor of Teen Vogue. And so she talks about a lot about what it was like growing up being biracial. Her dad is white and her mother is African American. And basically just what it was like being in spaces that are not meant for Black people. And so she really gives insight into how she got to the top. And so lots of people just see her and say that she was the first editor of Teen Vogue, but they don't really know all that it took for her to get there. And so she really digs deep into her career, school, a lot about relationships too. She talks about her boyfriend's toxic relationships, finding her soulmate who she's about to get married to, and all of that stuff. A lot of advice for young biracial women, young Black women, women of color, about how to claim space even though you may not fit in or you may not think that you fit in. And so this book was also super motivational. It made me want to write a book. So I've always wanted to be an author. This book, after reading it, really made me want to write a book, which I am starting now that I have no work because schools are closed. And so this book is about 315 pages long. And yeah, also she was a journalist, which I have a background in journalism. She was a judge on Project Runway. Okay, so it says in 2017, she became the youngest person ever appointed editor-in-chief and the first African-American to ever hold the post of beauty and health director at Condé Nast, which is the company that owns Teen Vogue, Vogue, and a whole bunch of other things. So yeah, this book was awesome. Talked about her life and how she got to where she is, and basically the journey that she's on now, because she no longer is at Teen Vogue anymore. So she talks about kind of like what's next and when it's time to move on once you've reached a certain summit or a certain level in your career. One of my favorite parts about this book is that at the end of each chapter she kind of has like a overarching quote or just a main point to make, and some of them are really, really good. So this one right here, discovering what you don't want is just as important as finding what you do. Just lots of really great quotes. This one says, when women affirm women, it unlocks our power. It gives us permission to shine brighter. So there's just a lot of great inspirational quotes. This is the last book of my recommendations. So most of these books that I showed you guys are hardcover, but paperback is cheaper. Again, these books are all available on Amazon. I'll link them down below. Also, most of these can probably be found at things like Target, Barnes and Nobles, other types of bookstores. So yeah, reading is so relaxing. Of course, I love binging Netflix and Hulu and all of that stuff, but there is truly nothing like just sitting down in a nice quiet room and reading a book. So if you guys are stuck at home, if you guys are working from home or even out of work like I am, find things productive to do. Don't just sit at home and do nothing. Again, all these books are great. If you guys have any book recommendations, comment them down below. Share your recommendations, share your Netflix shows, your movies, and all of that stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please stay safe and stay clean during all of this, and watch the news to keep up with everything that is going on. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, y'all.